for today is where's the Dharma? There's a way. Yes, because we have a lot of difficulty we need to go through in our life. But we always have backup because Buddha is there, Dharma is there, and always lead us into a wisdom way to solve the problem, to go through all the difficulties. So thank you, Manguan Fansi, and to lead us today's study. And please.
Okay.
So can Erwin, can you share Manguan Fansi PPT?
Okay.
Because we have a, sorry, there's another meeting is going on and back and forth, sorry.
Okay. Hello, good morning. I should not say good morning. Right now here is the, for you, as I think that's 8 o'clock in your place. But anyway, no matter what time zone we are here, we are all on the same page because we are going to study one writing from Master Xing Yun's Buddha Dharma, simple and pure. And the writing, Verbal Yu Hui just mentioned, where there is the Dharma, there is a way. In this writing, Master explained why he say that, why there is Dharma and there is a way. So we are going to see what he's saying. The picture here, you see they are lighting lanterns because we all know these few days we are preparing a lot of lanterns in the temple because lanterns can give us the brightness to make us in our mind to have hope. So I think Dharma is the hope in our life. If we learn Dharma and we acquire or accumulate more knowledge or even more wisdom in our life. So when we have the skills or we have the ways or we have the methods to deal with our life in a more peaceful and more bright way, and of course, we can still have a happy life in this world filled with suffering. So I think that's very important for us. And I got this picture and to wish everyone, after we learn Dharma, then we light up the light in our mind. So that's why I choose this. So let's go into the second slide, please. At the beginning of the writing, Master Xing Yun, he said, when people ask, what do you mean by saying this? What are the Dharma and the way you are referring to? So the Master said, compassion, wisdom, tolerance, and equality, and also some skillful means. They are all Dharma. And he also said, the sentence serves a reminder to cultivate strength of faith, wisdom, meditative concentration, and self-awareness with ourselves. So from these words, we can sense that actually he urged us to practice the 6 paramitas. Remember, we have 6 ways to practice us to become a bodhisattva. Of course, the 6 paramitas, we have generosity. We have precepts or discipline. We have patience, or we call it tolerance. And also we have meditation, and we have wisdom. So all these actually is the same. I mean, 6 parameters is the way. That's our master referring to practice. So in his writing, I don't know you have the book in your hands or not. I just took some parts of the readings. I think that's very important to share with you. So from his answer, compassion, wisdom, tolerance, and equality, that's all the Dharma. So that's all the Dharma we have to learn. And he also gave the examples. So we can see the first, how to cultivate compassion. A lot of people say, I have compassion, I help people, I do good things, I lend a hand when someone need help. Yes, that's a kind of compassion. But we have an example in the history. A king, he convert himself to practice compassion. So we can share the example of King Asoka. The next one, please. King Asoka also, he has the name. He has 2 names actually. His name, when he was so cruel and he was emperor would like to kill. In the legend, he killed his 6 brothers to get the throne, to get the king seat. And before his name, people call him the Black Asoka, because at that time, he was so cruel. He liked to kill. He liked to see the faces of suffering from the people. And his name, that means no, without. Soka, that means sorrow. So he was a person with no sorrow, which means his character is very stern, very strong, and he do things without regret. He was born in 4th century BC, and he was the 3rd king of Maurya dynasty. And as I said, according to the history and the legend, he killed 6 of his brothers to get the throne because he liked to fight. He liked to stir a war. But in one occasion, he became the follower of Buddhism. That was after the war of Kalinga. The word I underline, that's very important for him, because at that year, he found out his violence cannot conquer the heart of his people. Kalinga is a very rich land because Maurya dynasty, they were based in the northern part of India at that time. and he heard that Kalinga, the land was rich, so he wanted to conquer the land. That was in the southern part of India. So that year, he took a great troop to conquer. And after mass killing, and of course, he won. But the second day, when he took a tour to the city, he found out no one wanted to see his face. Everyone, they lower their heads. They don't see him. And he was so mad. He said, I was your king and you don't pay respect to the new king. I will kill you all. And at that time, one of his minister was a Buddhist. He said, My Majesty, you have been killing so many people. And the rest of the people, they don't pay respect to you, to see your face, to honor you, because they are afraid of you. And they don't want to see you. In their mind, they think you are a killer, not a king. A king will protect people. And after listening to that, and he saw all the people he killed was lying on the road. And he raised up a kind of remorse in his mind, because he wants the honor. He wants people to pay respect to him. And after he heard the words from his minister, he became regretted, and he said, and you tell me how to be their king. And the minister said, you treat nicely to them. After hearing that, and he was on regret. And by the way, why he had that kind of remorse, because all of those days, he was awakened constantly in the middle of the night with nightmares. He saw a lot of people stare at him. That's why he had, even though he was so brave, but his mind was disturbed by those staring eyes. So that year, gradually, he said, I will do less violence to my people. And finally, he converted himself to be a Buddhist. So that year changed his mind. He started to try to cultivate compassion. And he made a lot of achievement. He was the first king, the first emperor to conquer the whole India. And he was the first king to propagate the Dharma. So he made Buddhism his state religion. Everyone will take refuge to the Triple Gem. And he even sent his daughter Sanghamitra and son Mahinda to Ceylon, and which is today we call Sri Lanka, to propagating the Buddhism. And also he set up at least 20 pillars. We called Asoka pillar in different areas. And on the pillar, you can see the picture on the left upper corner. The word, it's not English, it's not Chinese, it's the language of Burmese. And he carved words we call Attic, and tell the people, don't kill, and in some laws. And he set up the well on the intersection of roads for the animal to take a rest. And also he set up even animal hospital. So he practicing his compassion. And afterward, in today, the pillar, the capital of 4 lions, you will see at the next PPT. Sarnath is the place we call Deer Park. So you can see this on the right hand. The pillar height about 30 meters, is very high. Before the capital fell down to the ground. So in a while, they put the capital, the upper part of the pillar, in the museum. And right now, it looks like that after construction and reconstruction about the capital. So it became the emblem of India. Okay. And also, he built a stupa. And right now in Sanchi is a place in the middle part of India. And the stupa, Sanchi stupa, for containing the relics of Shakyamuni Buddha. The picture was on the left-hand side, you can see. So that was his achievements after he practiced compassion. And he said, victory amassed through power is not true victory. The Dharma, whenever we have Dharma, prevails everywhere. And that's the true victory. So that kind of compassion and that kind of changing also change the history. Also, if he wants the true honor, the true respect, and he gained from his achievement after he became a Buddhist. So he became the greatest. People will call him the greatest Asoka in India, just like we said Alexander the Great in Greek is the same. But competing to great Alexander, the King Asoka, he took care of people, even took care of the animal, because he learned the Dharma because he learned the Buddhism's teachings and he followed all his way till his death. He followed the Buddha's teachings. So that's the first example we learn from the master's teaching, that victory is not the true victory. If we practice Dharma and we cultivate our compassion, and that's the true victory. Okay, so when we say compassion, and this is the first example in Master Xing Yun's writing to show us compassion can change the world. Compassion can do a lot of achievements. Of course, you will say, oh, that's the king. I couldn't do that. But remember, the victory is not to the outside world, to make the triumph of ourselves. That's the most important thing. So when we practice compassion, not only ourselves, but also we can make others happy. And that's the true victory. That's the true triumph we made. Okay, so let's go to the second example when our master saying how to practice our wisdom. We need wisdom to learn the Dharma. So usually when we say wisdom in Buddhism, we will use one word, panya. Of course, panya is we know the true nature of reality. We see things as they are, not from the way they appear. So the wisdom or the panya is not bound by our worldly conceptual knowledge. So we may say awakening mind or panya is the inside power in our mind or discernment in our mind. And it's totally self-awakening. That's the concept when we say the wisdom. But on the other hand, when we talk about wisdom in our daily life, wisdom usually will say based on something we have learned and something we have knew. So that's a kind of knowledge. But how to use our learned knowledge to make us to elevate, and that's a kind of wisdom. Maybe all of us, we heard about the Three Little Pigs story. That was the story I told to our preschool kids just recently. And I found out if we want to use the wisdom in our daily life, so we have to learn from the third little pig. We all know the first little pig, he built his house with straw, right? And the second pig, he built his house with sticks, with woods. But those two houses can be easily blown away by the wolf. But the third one, he said, I want to build a strong house. so that cannot be destroyed. So he used a lot of effort, time, and he worked very hard and was teased by his brothers because they said it's a hard work. Why you waste your time to build your house while we can build our house in a short of period? But the third piggy, he insists to build a very strong house. At last, after the two houses built by straw and woods were blown away by the hungry wolf, and the two piggies ran away to the third piggy's house. And the strong house protect them. So I think that's the same. We know how to, we know the knowledge, we know we have to do these and we have to do that. But if we can think further, we can think more in details, just like the third piggy. The third piggy said, I want to build a strong. And how is that means strong? That means indestructible. No one can destroy my house. And that kind of thinking is wisdom. And here I gave another example. We know the knowledge and we know how to use that. But when we put our thinking and we make a plan and we practice it according to the plan we made, and we get a good result, and that's a kind of wisdom. Just like a lot of people saying, I want to exercise, I want to have a good shape of my physical body and a healthy body. And I know how to exercise, right? Exercise is good for us. And that's a kind of knowledge. I know how to exercise. But if I made a plan according to what I need, and I make a plan to really exercise, and you put it together and you practice it, and that's wisdom. So every day we can cultivate our mind to go with compassion and to go with wisdom. So maybe it's not a very good example for us to apply wisdom in our daily life, but in an actually way, to me, wisdom is something you, after your thinking, after you take the knowledge and add it with some more details to use it. That's a kind of wisdom we apply in our life. Even though we cannot, like, the great practitioner, they are self-awakened. We are not yet the Buddha. But in our daily life, if we can do some observing to ourselves, then our mind can have more bright idea, have more bright conception in our mind, and it will become wisdom. When we have the wisdom and we accumulate that, and that's a self-awakening. So just step by step, we cannot gain wisdom in a sudden. The example, what I gave, the 3 little pigs and the how to really to exercise, just step by step. So wisdom cannot gain by all of a sudden. Just like the pictures you can see on the left-hand side. There is a window in a shape of Chinese plum. We imitate that. We can make that kind of the shape, we can make it. But if we can really plant a blossom and take care of the tree, and we can really have the flower in our beside our window. So that's a kind of wisdom from the knowledge of making the plum blossom shape as our window. And we can also, furthermore, we can plant and take care of the plant, and they will really have the flower. I think that's we need so many steps to do that, to practice our wisdom. Okay. So what about the next one? The next one in our reading is something very important in our daily life. So just imagine, or we have the experience when someone treats us very bad with resentment and talk to us with harsh words and slander us behind our back, say something bad and make rumors and causes us pain. And what do we feel? In the 6 paramitas, we know that we learned patience and we learned tolerance. But when we encountered very bad situation, what can we think and what do we feel? I think all of us, when we have that bad situation, the first feeling, first emotion is we get angry. I think all of us like that. When any of these occur, of course, we know we must not become angry. We must think about, we must accept that. So when we have this kind of very bad situation coming to us, the first thing we have to accept that. It's maybe it's very hard to practice, but that's true. Just like when a lot of people in our disciples or I know it's true. Your friends around you, or maybe one of the members in your family, in your relatives, when they heard the news they have cancer. I heard a lot of this. The first reaction is that, why me? Why me? I'm a healthy person. Why me? I think that's the very difficult situation we have in our life. Even though we have to accept that. So the first thing we said to ourselves, we accept the result. We accept the suffering. Then we have to think what to do next. Because anger cannot help us to solve the problem. So it says, we must not become angry with those involved. We don't blame anyone. And also, we have disregard the harm. We don't harm ourselves. Like when we heard the bad news, we have to deal with that. So how to deal with those harsh conditions, those difficulties, we have to practice in our daily life constantly. We settle the mind in peace. And we practice meditation. And that's where the power of tolerance are learned. Why I have a friend, one day, he was always on time to appear in his office. And one day, he told me, I was late, half an hour to go to my office. I say, why? What happened to you? I said, you always are the person who showed up on time in your office. And he told me, because when he was driving to the office in Dallas, we have a very famous highway, number 75, is always traffic jam. It's always slow. It's always full of cars, especially in the office hour. I mean, in the time when everyone at the same time rushed to the highway 75. And he was nicely driving, trying not to do the speeding. And suddenly he saw one of the car just cutting in front of his car. And suddenly he got mad. He said, how dare you? You didn't follow the rule. And just at that moment, he decided to chase the car. And the car ran very fast. And he did that. He followed the car for 50 minutes. And finally, the car went down 75 highway and stopped at one of the intersection of two roads. So he did it too. He wanted to find out who dare to cut off his way. So he waited, and then he saw the door was open, and one of the police came down and came up to him, say, "Man, are you trying to chase me?" And he showed his patch, the police patch. "I'm doing my duty." And my friend suddenly, he said, "So I'm chasing a police car." And that decision made him late for half an hour. And finally, he found out he chased a police car. So in our daily life, sometimes we do that rush and angry decision. We try to do some revenge and try to do some decision without thinking. Just in America, a lot of people, they are not polite when they driving the cars because it's all rushed and they try to cut off the ways. So, and you know, sometimes they don't really respect you. And sometimes people will have the middle finger as gesture, right? I think if you drive, I don't drive, but I saw people doing that. They are not satisfied with you and they will give you the middle fingers. So when they get angry, they will have some gestures. And for those people, they do their decision. They think that that's okay. They think they show their anger to you. That's the very usual situation we encounter in our daily life. But of course, we have anger. That's why we want to practice and cultivate our patience in everything encounter, everything or every moment we meet. Just like wisdom, tolerance and real tolerance and patience cannot be gained, cannot be cultivated in a short period. Here we are talking about the very wise tolerance and wise patience. We are not talking about I bear some harmful or some very bad emotions in my mind. I just press them. And usually if we store too much that kind of emotion, we will get depressed. Just like some of the people, they hold up too much negative emotions in their mind. And they said, this is tolerance. But I would say that kind of tolerance with negative emotions is not true tolerance. What I'm saying, the true tolerance and true patience is a decision we make after thinking, after forgetting, after we protect ourselves. How do we say protect ourselves? It says we just disregard the harm. We don't think the situation harm us. We just treat them in a neutral way so that we don't harm ourselves. And that's the true tolerance. Okay, so that's the other way we can learn from the Dharma. And lastly, let's take the next one, the next PPT. We are going to talk about the mutual equality, just mutual respect. In this writing, Master Xing gave us, and it says, many couples experience insecurity in their relationship and fear being cheated on. Some of the couples, they got divorced, they even have family violence. It's all from their insecurity. And they felt they were treated, they were cheated by their partners. And that our Master Xing said both partners, if both partners can abstain from sexual misconduct, as we say in the 5 precepts, instead, we support one another with kind words and remember their initial vows, and harmony will be in their life. I have been conducted so many Buddhist marriage, the ceremony in front of the Buddha. And usually we will ask them some questions and ask them to hold up their vows. What are the vows for husband and wife? Of course, to love each other and support each other and take care of each other until their death. I mean, so when we have insecurity happen between the couples, wife and the husband, what do? We have to think about the vows we made. We have to say good words. And the most part, we respect each other. The Buddhist Dharma teaches that all sentient beings are equal. And also, it teaches if we harm others, we are also harmed indirectly in our emotions. We feel suffered, both sides. So the ability to treat others with respect is a great tool. If we learned how to respect each other, then we don't have the fear of insecurity. Just like in Buddhism, we say all sentient being has Buddha nature. If we build up the mind of mutual equality, and we can have a peaceful and positive mind. And when we talk, when we do, we don't harm ourselves and we don't harm others. So that's very important for us to learn mutual equality in a relationship, no matter in couples, no matter in the family or friends, or even in our work. So mutual equality, that's very important. That's as the writing from our master Xing Yun. He knew we have a lot of conflicts in our family, or we have some difficulties to have the mutual relationship with each other. So he said, to build up the mutual equality is the base in a relationship that we can use to achieve harmony. So that's the fourth, he said, how to have Dharma, how to cultivate Dharma. So we have to go to the next PPT to see what does our master Xing Yun give us the conclusion. He said, why I'm saying that, when there is the Dharma, there is the way. What does that mean? He said this phrase signifies that when our minds are filled with Dharma bliss of compassion, loving kindness, joy, meditative concentration, and tranquility, we will not mirror in a delusive happiness of the five hindrances. The five hindrances is seeking for pleasure through the five senses of seeing, sound, smell, taste, and physical feeling. So if we can practice in our daily life from a very small things and start with a small idea, then we can gradually accumulate our compassion, our tolerance, and our wisdom. And we can build a mutual equality to each other. So in this way, the ups and downs in our life can be faced with a peaceful mind. So we won't get angry easily. When the anger comes, we know we are going to be angry, then we can change our mind. And that's, we can get a more peaceful feeling, and we won't get too emotional. So our master Xing Yun just said, whether we are in prosperous or impoverished environment, no matter the environment is beneficial to us or is not good for us, or we faced with praise or ridicule, or we are proud of honor we gain or defend by others. No matter what kind of situation, we can resolve and overcome difficulties with our practicing our Dharma in our mind. And finally, we can build a path filled with bright prospects in our lives. Of course, we learn the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths, the first is telling us there is suffering, so we accept that. After accepting the difficulties, then we find the ways to increase our difficulties in our life. And how? We use Dharma, we use the Buddha's teaching, so we can practice every moment, every day in our daily life. So that's what Master Xing Yun wants to tell us. We practice the Bodhisattva way. We practice the 6 paramita always. Then we will transform our mind, will transform our negativity to positivity. That's the most important thing. We won't stuck in our life with difficulties. We accept that and we use Dharma to solve the problems. So that's the true meaning of our Master Xing Yun said, when there is the Dharma and there is the way. Okay, so that's my sharing to you. And I know the time is up. So thank you for sharing with me. When we practice Dharma, and we know we have ways to solve our problems. Okay, thank you. And that's it. And wish you Happy New Year. Happy Chinese New Year. The rabbit can bring us more transformation, because the rabbit can run very fast and can usually they'll have a idiom that the rabbit has three nests. They can jump here to build one and jump there to build one. So in our daily life, our mind can jump from the negative into positive situation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pastor. And does anyone would like to share what you learned from today, or anyone can share what how do you use Dharma in your daily life to solve your problem?
Anyone?
Anyone? Maybe would you like to share? How do you use the Dharma and into your creation, into your art? Hello, Och, are you there?
Yes, Shifu.
Tell them about your
okay. Would you like to share?
calligraphy.
Oh, you're an
okay.
artist.
Yes, Shifu. So, how did I use the Dharma? When I was in Taiwan, there was exhibit of Venerable Master Xing Yun's one-stroke calligraphy, I think, in the gallery, and I was really transfixed by the artwork, thinking that this was in 2016, a long time ago, but it still affected me, and it still affects me to this day, Shifu, because when I was surrounded by those artworks, it made me decide to really pursue my studies in East Asian calligraphy. So when I returned home to Cebu, I did an exhibit based on Venerable Master Shingen's one-stroke calligraphy. And um, I still have a calligraphy here that I see every time. It reminds me. It's from Venerable Master Shingen. The monastics in Mabuhay Temple gave me this calligraphy when I volunteered for Siddhartha Shufu. So it reminds me, it says, the calligraphy I received was live a simple life, I think. Yes, that's what it meant, simple life. So every day I reminded to live simply, but also live for others. Because that's what the vow was when I in 2016, when I saw the calligraphy. That was the time also I took the Bodhisattva vow in Kaohsiung in the main temple. So, and then I got this calligraphy which says just live a simple life from Venerable Master Singin. So I try to it's in my altar every time I get out of my shop and every time I enter to start work in the day, then I see it. So I always try to live simply, and not only to say, to be living simply on my own, so that I can also help others, right? So with the calligraphy Shifu, to this day I still do the calligraphy. I still practice one stroke calligraphy, and I write the sutras. The sutra writing is very helpful when I'm troubled. So I just keep my mind focused by writing for example, right now I'm finishing the Omitofo Sutra, Namo Omitofo. So I did that. And also I made it a practice that when I'm troubled or when I'm not doing anything, instead of doing something stupid or something that's not worthwhile, I do the sutra writing, and I was able to finish the Diamond Sutra without knowing it. and and what was it? The Medicine Buddha Sutra, I think. And these sutras were given to me, Shufu. Like the Diamond Sutra was given to me by a devotee in Argentina when we visited there, and I said, I've never come across that. And he said, okay. He gave me the Diamond Sutra to write over. And so I worked on it, and without knowing it, I was able to finish it.
Wow.
Right. So these things remind me on my private practice, but when I go out and see other people, it also reminds me. It also reminds me to because there is no enlightenment without other people outside of you cannot be alone and get enlightened, right? Humanistic Buddhism is you have to be with other human beings. You have to practice with other human beings so that one step at a time you can get awakenings. So these little practices, these personal practices and being exposed to others give me the chance to, say a little about the Dharma or share something like that. So that's my sharing, Shifu. Thank you.
Wow, that's great. Did you write the Diamond Sutra in Chinese?
Yes, Shifu, because the books that
Oh,
the book, it was a very
oh,
long
the
book.
book. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I
The
have
book.
to write
You
it.
have to. You
I ha-
have to.
I followed it because it's my writing skills isn't that great yet, so I still have to follow it. But maybe one
Wow.
day I can write it myself, without
Oh,
the guide. But I think it's
wow, that's
a
good.
good starting point to have the guide, and
Mhm.
yeah, because
Oh,
I've read it in English before. I read the book on English and some commentaries, so I
okay.
knew I had an affinity to what I was writing.
Oh, that's great. Wow. You finish. So you find a way, in a very peaceful copying the the sutras. That's good. Okay, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to share? Okay.
Hello, Mang Kwang Kwasher.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, hi, hello.
Hi.
I just want to greet everyone in Amitako. And first of all, I just want to thank you, Venerable, for sharing us. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for today, and it's really, uplifting. And I also share this one to our Venerable, like, and Man Kong Pashe is one of my favorite because, like, you gives us security, new perspectives, and especially it's just like a light that comforts. And there's you know there's a light in in every words that you said and shared with us.
Thank
And
you.
I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful, and I really hope in the future that we can hear from you again. And
Yeah.
yeah,
One
thank
more
you and
time.
happy new year one more time.
Thank you. One more time. I'll see you next month.
Yeah, February, because we're gonna take 2 weeks break for Chinese New Year.
Yeah. So everyone have a very happy Chinese New Year. You know, in here in November, we celebrate Thanksgiving. In December, we celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
And January, we celebrate Chinese New Year. So we are always have the mood of holidays.
What a life.
Yeah. What a life, full of holidays.
Yeah.
That means full of
Exactly.
preparation for the holiday,
Yeah.
right? So everyone got busy. Okay. So maybe we just
Do
end
the
up.
triple merit.
Yeah. So I'll see you next month.
Okay.
And till now, take care and be happy. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, 南关法师。
Okay.
Okay, by the way, before we start the transfer merit, and everyone, please keep stay online, because after this, and we have to take a group photo. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, and let's turn on your camera, please. Hello, everyone. Nice to see everyone, and please turn on your camera and show up your happy face.
Yeah. Oh. Cool.
Okay,
Okay.
so Erwin, are you gonna take the photo for us? Or we need to turn on your camera.
Okay.
Your mic.
Okay. One more with lotus flower. Wait, my computer is so slow. I'm using a laptop. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Mm. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Finish.
you, everyone. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Oh my
you,
God.
Computer is so
everyone.
slow.
Thank you.
Mm, Goodbye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shufu and
Bye.
Kwan.
Cheers.
Happy
Thank you,
Chinese New
Safu.
Year.
Happy Chinese
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye.